All right, welcome back to the channel. So Errol Spence took to Twitter, clearly revitalized and amped for his fight with Yordenis Ugas, and he pushes the PBC to release the Fox schedule. And I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult for Fox to compete with that Showtime schedule. But let's talk about that and Errol Spence's next fight in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Errol Spence Jr. Took to Twitter yesterday, seemed like really energetic, was like, man, come on, Fox, release your stuff. That is because of the big announcement that was made yesterday where Showtime's Boxing released their fight card, and a fight card that, man, I liked very much, man. Like, looking at the card, there's maybe one, I don't think that there's any really spectacular fights, like ones where I'm like, whoa, but all of them are very solid and have a lot of intrigue to them. Like Gervonta Davis, matter of fact, there's like a 3-week span where there are like 3 really great fights in a row. I think like Gervonta Davis, Charlo Castano, maybe Rigondeaux and Casimir. I can't pronounce his name, is a little bit further down, but there's another fight right in there that is very good. You got Jamal Charlo that is going to be fighting. But anyway, it's just a really good card all the way. I think you got like Donero Bali on there, like I said, Rigondeaux. So very good schedule out there. And now we can say, all right, the year of boxing is beginning, because as of April, up until April, this is the date of this video, is April 16th. You know, there's been a good fight. There's been a good fight here or there, or there's been like really good, prospects fighting. Like, really enjoyed the Duran Ennis fight. Really enjoyed, who was the other? A Virgil Ortiz fight against Maurice Hooker. We've been having those type of fights, right? But not the big, not the champions, not the guys that we know are really already there. So this really, I believe, sets off the year, and I think it's a very good card. Now, Errol Spence Jr. getting amped about it. I'm telling you that I was hoping, I didn't think it would, but I was hoping that Errol Spence Jr. would be on the Showtime card or would get announced at the same time. But it appears that, Showtime, who I don't think was very happy with PBC, with the way that they divided their fighters and fighting, I think that, and I think there may have been a bit of a compromise made, because they have the Charlos now, both the Charlo brothers, back on the Showtime card. But as far as the Fox card, I'm not sure what that leaves left. Really, what's left on the Fox card, other than guys like the Deontay Wilder fight, but obviously the Errol Spence Jr. Ugas unification fight. And that's the fight that I'm like, once we get past that fight, or we get to that fight, then we are almost like, we are really there as far as, are we going to get an undisputed champ, or are we not going to get an undisputed champ? And judging from the fights, like, what I'm hoping to see from Errol, because with Errol in his tone sounds very into the fight, and I've been watching his Instagram very closely. I've been looking at the videos and different things that have been coming out about him. I've been listening to different things that people have said about who he's training with, right? Like, and I believe that there's a very good chance that the Errol Spence that shows up against Yordenis Ugas is going to be significantly better than the one that you saw against Danny Garcia, because I think that the one that we saw against Danny Garcia was better than the one that we saw was as good as the one with Sean Porter, and better than the Errol we saw against Mikey Garcia. And I do believe that is because of the malaise that Errol Spence Jr. admits that he had over his career after he won the championship, or really after he won the championship, and people still wouldn't fight him, like Keith Thurman wouldn't fight him, and Sean Porter wouldn't fight him, even though he had a belt. He would still have, if you recall, long periods of time where he didn't get a fight. I think that was like in 2018, where he just didn't get a lot of fights. So Errol said that, as a result of that, he lost. Admittedly, obviously, that's a lack of discipline on his part, but he's giving, what may have caused him to get off, go off the rails a little bit, was the long amount of time between fights. So he would gain a lot of weight, right? At one point in time, he fired the trainer, or I don't know if he fired him, stopped working with him, whatever the situation was. Blu-ray, his strength and fitness, his strength and conditioning coach, he let him go. And you started hearing a lot of rumors about how he was blowing up in weight between fights. That, I do believe, got corrected with that car accident that took place in the beginning of, was it 2020? I'm not sure. I think it might have been the beginning of 2020 where that fight happened, because I think it was 2019 that he fought Sean Porter, and then maybe in October timeframe, and then somewhere in the November timeframe, maybe the January timeframe, but not long after that fight is when he flipped that car. And then after he flipped the car, he was like, look, I'm completely dedicated to the sport of boxing. I got a second chance in life. So, that's what he's going to do. He's going to get his body all the way together. And it appears, because I'm looking at what he looks like in between the fights now, he gave some interviews and showing some pictures, and he doesn't have any puff in his face. If you look at the pictures of Errol Spence Jr., like, look at the pictures of Errol Spence Jr. that are taken, like, not before the Sean Porter, but before the Mikey Garcia fight, around that time, you'll see that his face really puffs up heavily. But now his face, he doesn't have the cheeks. His dimples that he has in his cheeks don't look pronounced. They just look, he looks like he is close to being within weight. He rehired his strength and conditioning coach, so he should be, we'll see what the deal is. And honestly, man, I do believe that he is going to need it, because if he doesn't get this Terrence Crawford fight, and he's either going to have to go up to 154 pounds, or he's going to have to be there when Virgil Ortiz and when Jaron Ennis are there. And while I tell you, I know that Errol Spence Jr. is the best. I do believe that he's the best in the welterweight division. When you have young guys that are 22, 23 years old that are really big, that have watched you fight, that can prepare for you, you're going to have to be in your absolute best shape, not just to fight them, but in the fights before that, because so that you can train and fully prepare for these guys, keep your body from wearing down. Those are the things that I'm hoping to see from Errol Spence Jr. But as far as the actual Fox card itself, like I said, I don't really even know. I mean, like, who's going to be on that card? You got Adrian Bronner that he still needs a fight. He's in Showtime. Now, he didn't get announced on the Showtime card, so maybe the issue with him was that he's like, hey, man, I need another card. I need another fight. Maybe they shifted him over to Fox, so we'll see what he does. Then there's also, Sean Porter's looking for a fight. Danny Garcia is going to look for a fight. I think there's David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. I'm not really sure. Gary Russell Jr., maybe because Gary Russell Jr.'s fight hasn't been announced yet. So there are still a lot of PBC fighters that can make that card very, very solid. But I don't really know how it's going to be any more solid than what the Showtime card is right now. Anyway, I like it. I like it very much. I really like Errol Spence Jr.'s attitude. Can't wait for the Yordenis Ugas fight. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.